Shalom. Call Halayim La Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua Bashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and a sincere shalom to the 144,001 Now, over there in the UK and Australia, but I think the law they put in place in Australia is a little bit different. But the one in the UK, United Kingdom, which makes up Wales, England, Ireland or Northern Ireland, I can't remember, and then Scotland. So it's about, four or five countries that make up the UK. And they passed a act to where if you want to log in to Spotify, YouTube, all these other popular social media sites in those countries, that area of the world, you got to provide your ID, facial recognition, selfie, and all that. So they're going full dystopian. All right, they're going full dystopian. So in response, YouTube is now saying they're going to track all over the world, or I think here in the U.S. it says YouTube to gauge U.S. So here in the U.S., YouTube, we'll dive into the article. YouTube announced on Tuesday that it will begin to use, and this is you can see the date. YouTube announced on Tuesday that it will begin to use AI to estimate the ages of users in the US, which is nonsense. They're already directly letting you know that they're gonna use AI and say, oh, AI is gonna predict this, and we're gonna believe AI is right while we discriminate against people. So they're gonna use AI to discriminate against the Israelites, all right, and people who go against whatever their beast system entails. Okay, the rollout of the new feature comes one day after Australia's government announced it would ban children under 16 from using YouTube, in less than a week after UK implemented sweeping age checks on content on social networks. Now, VPNs get around this. Now, they can try to say, oh, we're going to fine you or do whatever. Because I think Brazil said, if you use a VPN, we're going to fine you. But I don't think, from my understanding, you don't know. Like, you can't find out if someone is using a VPN or not. Like, the government, they can't check your phone and prove that you're using the VPN. If I'm not mistaken, unless they go to the VPN network and tell the VPN network to give them the data of everybody that's used your VPN from our country or whatever. But some VPN websites, companies, if you will, let's say one operates in Brazil and it has Brazilian networks and they don't keep the data storage for their users. Well, if someone in the UK uses Brazil's network, the UK can't really do much against that, right? But nonetheless, Esau is going to try to centralize and control the internet, which is going to lead to the famine of the word. So let's continue. YouTube's AI age verification on its home turf indicates it is putting into place a form of compliance with the Australian and UK requirements, which, what does that have to do with the US though, right? Despite its persistent opposition to age check requirements, over the next few weeks, we'll begin to roll out machine learning to a small set of users in the US to estimate their age so that teens are treated as teens and adults as adults. And you notice Esau, when he does something, he's always saying, oh, the children. Like, potentially the next scamdemic is going to be something revolving around children. Who knows? But they did the SEERS, pre-gaming, which was pointed at children. Let's get that. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So Esau is a one-trick pony. And people are starting to see through these devils, man. I've seen so many videos on social media specifically YouTube, of people, and these videos are getting hundreds of thousands and millions of views, and people are all in the comment sections essentially agreeing. And then you have, some weirdo liberal looking mofo on there saying, "Oh yes, we need to be enslaved." Essentially, like they're okay with being enslaved, which you will have a small section of humans that are okay with taking the MOTB. All right, you're gonna have people willingly take it. They're not even being deceived. They just want to be good slaves, man. So let's go back to it. YouTube was promised an exemption. Esau breaks promises from Australia's social media ban last year, but then communications minister by the then communications minister. But the Australian government said on Monday that the platform will in fact be included in the country's ban on children under 16 using social networks. So if you're in Australia and you're under 16, you can't even use social media anymore legally. Do you see what they're doing? All right. Now, Australia is a very somewhat isolated, small country under less than 30 million people. Like Texas, Australia's like Texas in terms of population, pretty much. They're not a big country on the global scale. Still Edomite country. All right. Colonial country. But Esau showing his horns in Australia. All right. They're coming down with that wrath. And this is just going to lead up to the digital currency, the MOTB, the AI, robot, Terminator, Skynet takeover, hostile takeover, humanity. This is just one piece to that. It is not going to stop. In fact, it's going to speed up. Because the Most High said what? Let's get that. What he said, the elect's sake. Matthew 24:22, and except these days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And people go ask around and think back. Time is moving faster. Literally, it feels. We're more than halfway through 2025. Time is moving faster, and quote unquote, all right, scientists are saying that the Earth is spinning faster and all this. Well, but whatever with that, right? But it is a confluence to the scriptures. But just be wary of what Esau comes out saying. Scientists this, scientists that. Like if you don't got no proof, if there's no proof, no evidence, then it doesn't matter. I can say, yesterday. I made $1 billion yesterday, but if I'm poor, I'm homeless or something, and I'm just continuously being homeless, what is that $1 billion doing? There's no proof, right? So just be wary of that, even if it lines up with the scriptures. All right. Now let's go to this post right here. The U.S. is doing something similar. Now this one is just going to censor bullying, but it's going to build up to some degree. Is going to build up to what the UK and Australia has. But this Kids Online Safety Act is just so social media platforms, for now, what's being proposed now, so social media platforms don't allow bullying and things like that, like limit posts that are bullying and whatever, which is going to be hard to do with X. We see what Elon Musk is doing with X. All right. So, and again, the freedoms allowed in Babylon the Great. Okay. Don't, hold on. I think I got a package coming. Nope. Never mind. So what is it? The First Amendment, where freedom of speech and whatever. So here in Babylon the Great, Esau didn't factor in how hostile his takeover would be, which is why here in Babylon the Great, they don't like the Constitution. They can't bring in all these different qualifications and whatnot like they do in these other countries here in U.S. because of the Constitution. All right. Now let's hit up. Revelations 12, Revelations 12 and 12. And it reads, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath a short time." So guess what? Esau is gonna do what he was created to do, to be wicked and bring, right, that pale horse, that red horse, to bring death and destruction. Okay, this is what Esau was programmed to do, and he's gonna do a very good job at it. All right, until he's taken down by the Israelites, the elect. All right, starting with the first elect, Yahushua. Okay, let's go into that word horn, because you hear other Jakes say, "Oh, the horn." All right, because when you go into that word horn, it's going to power. All right, particularly spiritual power, because Esau indeed has spiritual power, because he was blessed just like Jacob was blessed by Yahushua in one of his many regenerations as Isaac. So you go into the horn, it says strength, all right, of rays of light, okay, an elephant's tooth, all right, a ray of light, power. So the horn is going into power because it's symbolic, because the horn of an animal is essentially like a sword. That's their sword. They have built-in swords. You see, humans, we don't really have built-in weapons for the most part. I mean, we do have knuckles. That's as good as it gets. You could make the argument that our nails could grow long and be sharp, but human nails aren't that effective. They break pretty easily. But nonetheless, animals like elk, deer, rhinos, elephants, they have Salakia. They have horns, which are weapons. Okay, those are built-in swords, built-in weapons for them. That's their line of power. All right, and Esau, all right, he has power on the left-hand side. Let's get that. Job 9 and 24, the earth. Let's go. Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, all right, the Edomites. He covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not wherein, who is he? So people will say, oh, many countries have controlled the earth, which is not true. All right. Now, yes, back in the day, you had the Egyptians, you had the Medo-Persian Empire, so on and so forth, but they didn't control the whole earth. Okay, they controlled essentially the known world. They didn't control the Americas, which is the earth. That's the earth. All right. They wasn't controlling all these islands. Like the U.S. has Guam, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands. All right. Esau got Australia. Okay. New Zealand. All right. Esau got puppets in Central South America. They got Canada. They got the U.S. They got Europe. The Edomites are all over the world, man. Okay. And the key point, they covered the faces of the judges thereof. Who are the judges? The Most High Yahweh, Yahushua, the angels, the Elohim, the Israelites, Yasharallah. And who when you think, you can't even say the proper names. So when you think of God or Jesus Christ, right, or the Southern Kingdom of Israel, all right, JOOs, all right, the angels, what's going to pop into the mind of the overwhelming majority of humans on the planet Earth, Israelites, heathens, whoever, is going to be so-called white people, right? So that's covering the faces of the judges thereof, all right? So this is how you know it's not talking about the so-called Chinese, all right? The so-called Arab, all right? Definitely not the so-called Hamites, okay? This is talking about the so-called white men, which are the biblical Edomites. And there's no way around it. Let's finish this off. Actually, no, I'm not going to finish it off here. But I'm going to go to Romans 13 and 4. And it reads, "For he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good. But if thou do which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil." And that happened with chattel slavery, 1492. Okay, starting with 1492, but then it cranked up even worse with chattel slavery. Okay, so this is what happened. This is how the Israelites were plagued. We were plagued because we went off. We didn't even comprehend how we went off, and we went off more and more. And the Most High was like, all right, time to punish my people. And that's when he turned up the spirit of the Edomites, all right, on the left-hand side. And they got what? The black powder guns and other types of weaponry, cannonballs, and all this other types of swords, because that's what they were blessed with. Then later on, they got fighter jets and tanks, howitzers, tomahawk missiles, and then the ICBMs, and now they're coming with the super AI and these robots. So this was Esau's blessing, man. All right, and he's going to use his blessing to do a hostile takeover of the world with the MOTB, okay, which is a technology being implanted into your body. Now let's end this off here with this is Amos 8:11. "Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst of water." So before things start really going bad with Jacob's trouble, okay, before Jacob's trouble really kicks off, when it's starvation, dehydration, pestilences, right, home invasions, before all that happens, it's still going to be law and order. But guess what? But of hearing the words of Yahweh. So, and what is the main way to hear the truth? YouTube, okay, the internet. The internet, on some level, is going to be heavily censored before society really collapses. Okay, they're going to heavily censor the internet. So get it while the getting is good, man. So I don't want to rock this out. This video was edifying. Shalom.